Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Dobry den, my only word in Russian. It's a pleasure to be again with you because this is my third or fourth time with SQA Days, which is a conference that I love especially because it gives me the opportunity to come and visit Russia and Belarus. And for those who don't know me and haven't seen my performance before, I'm Olivier Deneau and I'm coming from Belgium. And I'm also the president of CFTL, which is the ISTQB organization in France, the local member board in France. I'm also involved in different certifications team within software quality, whether it is in business analysis or requirements engineering. Okay, the presentation today is about magic and it's about testing. Okay? That's a combination of three different things. Magic, illusions, testing. Of course, we're in testing conference, so definitely there will be some testing involved. And neurosciences. My wife is a psychologist. I'm also passionate about human, about psychology, and about neuroscience, so there will be the combination of all of that. Please remember that what you will see today, the only magic is just in your eyes. There's absolutely no magic at all, it's all tricks, right? And this is what I'm going to demonstrate, and I'm going to show you how we are tricked every day. First of all, I would like to start with a silly introduction. I suppose that, well, you're pretty young people, so you probably heard about the Game of Thrones. And I just wondered, what if there were no so many battles, but just one single battle and only one sword? Game of Thrones would look like this, and the game would be over quite easily, right? If you read the book, by the way, you would see that this throne is very uncomfortable, and people cut themselves all the time with these swords that are, you know, forged all together to make that wonderful piece of furniture. I don't know if you've seen that sort of stuff. I've seen it a couple of times in circus, not in India. I've never been to India yet, but I've seen it in circus, and it's pretty impressive. You have this fakir, and they are just lying down a bed of nails, okay, and they don't, well, die during that show or experience, right? And it's just about physics, by the way. This is the pressure that is indeed a force over a surface. And the whole trick with fakir is that if you put the nails close enough to each other, you will never, you know, pierce your skin. And that's the trick. So it looks like, wow, it's so fantastic, but actually it's just physics. And the only dangerous moment is when you just sit down or lie down the stuff. You have to be a little bit careful, otherwise it works, okay? So to close this silly introduction, the parallel with testing is, it's exactly the same in software testing, whether you're checking your code or whether you're checking the requirements or whatever kind of measurement you want to check. Please think that one test is not enough. Like one sword is not enough or one nail is not enough. And not even talking about pesticide effect, it's not that game. Okay, but let's come to real magic. Okay? Magic illusions that you get when you go to the show are mainly based on different factors. And one of the essential factors is stress. Stress and saturation. Saturation of your mind. Okay? We are acting like superpowered processor, but we have our CPU overload as well. You know? This is saturation. And we don't act very accurately when we are overstressed. I suppose you all know that, but we'll come to that later. Okay? And these are key factors to trick us when we attend a show, a magic show. What you need to know is that, opposite to what most people think, our brain is constantly used. Nearly up to the limit, 98%, okay? At this moment in time, You might be listening to me, or watching your phone, or doing whatever you want, okay? And this is taking up some brain CPU power, okay? You are aware that you have neighbors. Maybe you smell the nice scent of the lady aside. Maybe you feel the chair that you're sitting on, and so on and so forth. These are all these information that are processed at each and every moment. Not really at each and every moment, by the way. When you're sitting down the chair, the first contact, you feel the chair, and then you forget about it, because you cannot process this information constantly, and it's not important for you, it's not important for your life, so you forget about the chair. This is exactly how pickpockets and other kind of people are tricking you sometimes, because you tend to forget, or you tend to keep this information alive. Okay? A very simple test is you touch your hand, like this. You feel that you're doing it, okay? Now you press your hand very strong for a couple of seconds, and then you remove the pressure, and you still feel the pressure for a certain time, okay? This is a trick that pickpockets use here. They press your hand, you have the impression that your watch is still there, but this is just remaining, this is just a remnant information. Your watch is already gone, okay? So 98% of our brain is used at any moment. So it takes only 2 extra percent to overload it and to saturate our senses. Which means that when we are at work, when we are stressed, and we get that little stuff on top, you know, we just get berserk and, wow, it's not possible, I cannot handle all this. Okay? Saturation, indeed. Thank you very much for the translation. So, another thing is that, again, contrarily to what we believe, and especially women, and sorry about that, you're more efficient than most men in some tasks, but you and we are not multitasking. So we are only good in doing one thing at a time, and not many things at a time. I know that you can perfectly cook a meal and think about the baby diapers that are missing, or something like that, but this is one after the other. This is not multitasking processes. Okay? So, pickpockets and illusionists are constantly using this, talking to us, very, very quick rhythm, load of information. And because you have all this lot of information, you do not realize what is happening. This is the same at work. And this is the same at home. Have you ever had a day where it was, you know, that difficult day at work, nothing worked and so on and so forth, you had a lot of trouble, and you're driving back home. And you do not even realize that you're driving back home, because this kind of information is processed automatically, and you drive all along the way, but you don't realize that you've been through that road onto that other road. Or when you cross the door, and then you have your beloved one that is speaking to you, and I don't know, talking about her day or his day or whatever, and suddenly you have the question, what do you think about that? But you haven't heard of anything. You don't even know what they said. So, yeah, good idea. Have I met that? Okay, this is saturation. Okay, I'm going to show you a nice trick, if the video is willing to load. It's Matt Franco. Matt Franco is an illusionist, and he's been in America's Got Talent. Yes, sometimes American got a bit of talent. Not every time, but this time it is. You'll see the trick, okay? It's very amazing, and then we will see together how this trick works, bit by bit. Oh, by the way, if some of you don't want to see how magic tricks are working, because they don't want to break the magic, still time to leave the room. Let's go. Oh, Houston, I have a problem. Okay, I'm going to tell you what is going on by the time they fix the sound, or they try to. Actually, Matt Franco is asking the jury to select cards. Okay, just plain cards. And that's pretty easy. It's a little bit annoying that you don't hear, because what you have to hear in there is his voice rhythm. It's constantly speaking, so they have no time to think about anything. And they just show the cards. Okay, so you have a 642, if I remember well, that's fine. And now the fourth member of the jury, Mel B, for those who like Spice Girls. Okay. He's going to borrow his iPhone and make a picture. Fabulous. Yes. Okay. And now here it comes. Here comes the trick. So he's playing with the iPhone and then suddenly, oops, I dropped it. Okay. So that's terrible, of course, for that kind of people with all the contacts and so on and so forth. But he's got a trick. You always have a hairdryer with you when you're performing on stage, right? I always do. Okie-do, so here it is. Let's put it there. And let's try it. Will you do that? Ah. Yes. So now you see Mel B turning really pale. And of course, it's gone. But wait, I still have a trick. There's a possibility, there's magic in the air, ladies and gentlemen. Let's try to call the iPhone because it disappeared, it vanished in the air, but it's somewhere hidden. So Heidi Klum, beautiful girl, she is calling her friend Mel B. Hello Mel B, where are you? Okay, and then suddenly in this big hall, you have a hallway with thousands of seats, and you hear that iPhone ringing. Oh, it's there, let's go. So they just cross the stage. Do you listen? Can you imagine an iPhone in a room that is probably 10, 15 times bigger than this one? But they hear it perfectly. So there's no trick, there's no magic. It's very, very strong bell. And then all those people just, move. Here it is. In that seat. Spyderco knives, wonderful. Good quality. Okay. Let's check. This is not a rabbit. This is her iPhone. Wonderful. Yes. Guess what? And of course you see the 642. This is her iPhone, definitely. For the lady there on the side, iPhone. Okay. But this is where the magic comes. Look at that. That 642 is exactly the number of the seat. So all was predicted. Ain't it fabulous? So you've seen in direct the magic trick, and everyone was, okay? Well, first of all, if you check, I did the check. I've read it on the internet, because I was a guest as well, so that was my first reaction. I said, no, this is not going to happen, no, it's not possible. And I checked with the room, and if you look at Radio City Musical, this is where the show is filmed, Look at the seat numbers. Do you see any possibility to have a 642? No. It is not possible because there's no 642. The numbering system is totally different. Oh, first clue. Okay, so let's go back a little bit to the show. First of all, he constantly talked and talked and talked, and the story is built bit by bit, so he knows exactly where he's driving everyone. Okay. So it looks absolutely natural, like if I put my hand in my pocket now, you feel it absolutely natural. It's just, speaker's trick. I don't know what to do with my hand, I put it there. If I was an illusionist, I am not, I'm extremely bad at that, though I'll play a trick with you, but it's mentalism. You'll see later. Okay? If I were an illusionist, I could take something or put something in my pocket very easily, and you feel it natural because it's part of the story. I'm constantly entertaining you with my big gesture, and you don't look at what is happening behind because you look at me. You see? So, he forced the choice. That is the first step. It's very easy. I haven't got much time to do that in this presentation, but forcing the card's choice is pretty easy. One of the nicest trick, and if you come back home and type double lift on the internet, you will see how it works. This is the trick of, you're just flipping a card, and actually you flip two. So you give the impression that this is the card, and when you flip it back, actually the card that you want to keep is the second one. And you have the impression that it's just one card. Just check over the internet. There are people that are very gifted to do that. I'm not. I tried, but no. I'm maybe a tester, but not an illusionist. Okay, so he forced the choice. So he put the cards he wanted to the jury, definitely. The phone, there are many explanations regarding the phone. He can steal it, he can use another phone, whatever. What is very important is that there's a very good story behind. All the story looks normal. All the story looks logical. It's so logical that he's got a hairdryer, that the phone disappears, and you would expect to find it back in the seat. Okay. And for sure, and this is also something that you need to know when you go to this kind of show, there are accomplices. There are people that know the trick. Well, definitely, ladies and gentlemen, if there is no 642, and the phone is ringing in a seat just aside, oh, I'm 101, he's 103, and this is 642? Oh yeah, of course, normal, right? Okay, this is about magic, that's fine, but what does it tell us about software testing? Have you heard of that stuff? USS Vincennes. It was in the first Iraq War, okay? And in 1988, a commercial air flight from Iran Air has been shut down by this ship. Okay? This is about stress. This is about conditions, And I will be talking about usability conditions later on, or user experience. What happened, actually? This is a consequence of a couple of events. Okay? We are at a war. Everybody is overstressed. And you have helicopters. And these helicopters have been shot at with speedboats. So they change the speedboats, and they decide to bring some kind of support to their chasing team and the helicopters. And what do? They come into the Iran waters, and they apparently unaware. So this is the first thing. Whether they lie or not is another question. But already they crossed the limit, they crossed the line, and apparently they didn't realize that. Probably because they were concentrated on the action. Have you ever made an accident or an incident because you were focusing on something and forget the whole stuff around? It happens very, very often when you drive a car. You're stressed, you want to cross the road or you want to jump on the lane, and you suddenly forget about all the rest of the traffic because this is your spot and this is your moment, this is your 5 minutes fame, and it's there. This is probably what happens at the time. Okay, they reply. So, at a certain moment in time, there's this flight that is coming. And they completely confuse an Airbus A320, which is a big carrier that is taking off, with an F-14 Tomcat, which is a fighter, which is attacking them. So that's totally different kind of curve, totally different kind of signal. But they confused, and they shot 2 missiles, and as a consequence, nearly 300 people died. Stress. Let's talk about my stress. I'm a stressy guy sometimes, As you know, and the best proof is that I'm here, I'm traveling a lot, and I'm speaking about testing all over the world. Okay? 2 weeks ago I was in Morocco, and yeah, I'll be in Italy next month, and so on and so forth. Okay? This is not about me, this is about my stress. What I hate in the airport today, due to these terrorism acts and so on and so forth, the security gates are much more difficult to cross through at a time. And you nearly need to be half naked if you want to, you know, go without beeping anything. Okay? So, this time, it stressed me a bit. And I was overstressed because I had to go through the security gate twice. I had a connection, and for some reason they decided that I had to be checked twice. Okay? But the problem was that I had my laptop, I had this belt, I had a watch, I had all these kind of, you know, I have a secure wallet, and all these kind of things that are beeping like hell. So I didn't want to stop and to be blocked at the security, so I had to think of all these things, plus there's absolutely no damn space to put your luggage on when you cross the security gate. I don't know why the hell they thought of that, but anyway, this is the case. So I was overstressed. And I put this little stupid padlock, a cheap one, on my laptop suitcase. Why the hell? Because I'm always with my suitcase and nobody get back. Okay, you know, silly old guy stuff. So I put this padlock, and my code was, let's say, 3 times 0, okay? And when I arrived, just at the second security gate, I tried to open the padlock, put the 3 times 0, and it didn't work. So I said, okay, let's take the chance. I put it through the tunnel, crossed the gate, and then of course what needed to happen, they put my laptop aside, and there's a laptop in there, please, can you open it? I said, no, my code is 3 times 0, but I cannot open the damn padlock. And the security guy in London just looked at me and said, well, okay, sir, let's see. Open. Okay, so you're making a fool of yourself. How did you do that? Well, you know, I was a burglar before, so I know how to open any kind of lock. Sure. Thank you very much. And then, no, this is not going to happen. He's not a burglar. No, that's not. So what did happen? What did happen was this. This little stuff, there, this little stuff, I didn't notice. And the problem is that I thought that I was aligning the 3-0 to the little arrow, but actually I was on the wrong side, because in Paris, when I did the first check, I turned my padlock upside down. So the check was on the second side of the padlock. So I was aligning the 3-0 on the wrong side, and of course it was probably 777 on the other side, and no, it didn't open. Okay? That's how we behave, like we are overstressed. This is another stuff that stressed me a lot. This is not an iPhone, but this is a Samsung whatever. And it's using Android. I love Android. And the problem is that, well, in most cases I want to send a mail to someone, and then suddenly I realize, well, I'd better add something, or no, this is not a good idea to do it now, or, well, maybe check the spelling 2 or 3 times, whatever. So I decide to stop sending the mail and ignore the maneuver. Okay? Happens all the time. The problem is that when you do this, and just check this wonderful arrow, where is it? There, okay? Hello? Then you get this message box. And I'm always confused with this message box because I don't know what to do with that. You have ignore the email. Okay, I'm just translating from French. Ignore the email. This is the bold case. And then, store the email in the in the file, or discard. Okay, and then you have cancel. You have ignore, or you have store. Record. What do? Which one do you press? Well, actually, annulate, cancel, is doing nothing. So if you do cancel, actually it cancels the box, but not what you want to do, not the action. It just cancels the box. Ignore is actually, I will discard the mail. I will do exactly what I want to do. So I have to press ignore, and the other one is the other option that is not interesting here. But I'm always confused, all the time, because to me it's not logical. Rings a bell? We, ladies and gentlemen, are designing software, or testing software. This is usability, this is in use. This is a gold mine. And this is going to hit us and happen more and more. Because I'm an ITer, but we're designing a piece of software for everyone today. People like plumbers, hairdressers, I don't know. All good people that don't like IT, they don't want to hear about IT, they just want to use. So they better know what cancel or ignore is doing, because otherwise they will drop your application, because they don't know, they're confused. Here nobody dies. But it's annoying. Frustrating. Second piece of the trick is the good story. What does the good story mean, actually? A good story is what we call user or technical requirements. But it can be in agile user stories, it can be use cases, or it can be in another field of interest today. And I know that you guys in Russian are extremely strong at that. Not in hacking, but in designing software and these kind of things. So there's absolutely no joke. That's hacking via social engineering and phishing. I will show you an example about that one. Okay? But this is a good story. Because the weakest point today in IT is not the technique. That is the people, that is us. We are the silly ones pressing the button. We are the silly ones checking that stupid invoice that we never did with a company that we never registered to, that we don't even know of. But hey, this is the copy of your latest invoice, please check. Ta-da! And you get the malware on your PC. Right? These are people. That's nothing to do with technique. In the industry, outside software industry, these are the defined processes. You know, when you're making dairy products, when you're building cars or whatever, you have these processes and you know the drill, you know what you have to do. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and so on and so forth. This is the same, this is the good story. If we have a good story, it works. Let me show you the hacking stuff. Again, if the video works. Is it possible to make sure that the sound is fixed? I can dub as well, that's not a big issue, but it's better if you have the sound. Oh, never mind, I will do the trick. Okay. So, the aim of the game is to have a hacker break into the cell phone account in 2 minutes. And it doesn't work. Well, fantastic. Let's go over it again. I said 2 minutes. You impatient people. Okay, I'm going to dub the story. So, it's good with visuals, but it's good with me as well. Look at me, look at my face, I will tell you the story. So the name of the game is very easy. This guy is going to a security convention, okay, a show. And actually he's meeting there security experts, and yeah, he's a journalist and says, well, I bet you cannot enter my phone account or, yeah, you know, hack my account very easily. And actually the guy has been technically shielded, so everything is there and so on and so forth. But what he did not realize was that the hackers are not going to use that trick to get into his phone, but are going to use social engineering. So he meets that charming lady, and she is the hacker, and she says, well, okay, sit down, I'm going to show you. And actually she sees on the phone that she has a certain access, she has a certain piece of information. So she already has a little bit of information about the guy, so she knows her phone operator. And she calls the phone operator. And as soon as she calls, she just put in the background a sound of a crying baby. So I'm not going to dub that one, but you have that baby crying all the time. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, so it makes a lot of noise and a lot of stress. And this is probably the most stressful noise we ever have in our life. And I know that all mothers among you know what I'm talking about, but fathers as well, especially when it turns past midnight and then it becomes our babies. You know the story? Okay? This is your baby before midnight and after midnight. Oh, this is mine. Okay, so that's the game. And when you hear that sound, this is danger, danger, danger. You know, that's like in these movies when you have these red lights or yellow lights turning and wah, wah, wah all the time. You know, how do you want to operate in such conditions? Okay, and the baby is there, and the lady is calling the operator, and that's the help desk guy, and nearly crying. You know, well, my husband is somewhere abroad, and I need to access the stuff because I need to do something important and cannot. And you have the baby in the background, and the guy, well, I can do it. Yeah, but you know, he will kill me, and she gives a little bit of information, not enough to validate anything and to certify anything, but just enough to show the guy that she is maybe what he thinks she is. And immediately the guy becomes empathic, you know, and he wants to help. And she pushes, and he wants to help more, and oh, I'm so happy, thank you very much, but she broke into the account. You know, so this is exactly the kind of trick that those kind of people can use against you. And in these testing conventions and these testing conferences, I see all about the same. People focusing on technique, and technique is wonderful, and I love that. But let's focus a little bit on people, and let's focus a little bit on, you know, what is around the technique. That's about stressy conditions. Okay, so in this case, she used the same sort of trick: saturation, a lot of information, speaking fast. Stressy environment, the baby crying, okay? So the guy is, you know, tempted to do something that is a little bit weird. When we're designing software, we have to think and understand that people will use our software sometimes in these stressful conditions. Think about my Padlock, think about my Android phone, right? So we have to design our software in such a way that even in these stressful conditions, we can relieve a little bit the pain and we can organize it a little bit better. Okay? And one of the tricks to do that is to prioritize the information. Okay? Let me give you a nice example of prioritizing. That's about Google. I will display that later. Okay? Google is probably the piece of internet, the internet page that looks the simplest ever. You just have a big white screen, a big logo that changes from time to time if there is a special celebration, and you have this search box. That's pretty much about it. Okay? So what else can you do on Google? It's boring, isn't it? I will show you something about Google later. Okay? Second is to help people performing what they need to perform, helping them in doing what they want to do, accompanying them within their tasks. Okay? This is the concept of software with it. Okay? You have these pieces of software where you know you have this kind of stuff when you start, and oh, you want to do that? Okay, come with me, I will show you. You press here and you have this zone and you have that. It's working pretty much as well in gaming. When you start a new game, you have to understand the interface, and you don't know whether you have to push on X, A, Y, Z, or whatever. So they show you and say, well, this is for jumping, this is for operating something, this is for shooting, this is for, I don't know, whatever you game with, but okay, that's about it. These are also about the frequently asked questions. Okay. One of the things that is absolutely important, of the most important, is to make sure that the user is in control, that everything is controllable. This is what I hate about this driverless car, because you have the impression that you're not in control. Oh, I'm the computer and I'm driving your car. Don't worry, we'll go to destination. Everything is okay, 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 okay. See what I mean? And then, what do? There's no wheel, there's no pedal, what? You know? And it happened already with that guy with the Tesla car. You know? He was probably playing Tetris or something, relying on the Tesla stuff, but there was one little technical option missing. This super LiDAR that would have made a difference between a truck and some kind of horizon line that was extremely shiny. And it crashed. Okay. So, making sure that we are in control is of utmost importance. This is the most important thing ever. That's my conviction. I know that some people want to give control to computers because computer can process faster. I'm a software tester, I know about bugs. We bug as well, but at least this is my fault. My liability, my responsibility, and I love it. My privilege. Google. So this is the boring Google page. How many links do you think there is? Or they are? 10? Okay, somebody counted? Great. How about this? This is Google, the hidden side of Google. And I'm not even talking about Google Scholar, Google Doc, or Google whatever. Google Cat? No. Okay. Not yet. Okay. You even have the complete Office suite, you have Drive, you have everything you need or want or don't want or whatever. Totally irrelevant of what you think of Google. Okay? So that's about complexity, and that's about progressive complexity. Just another example. This is Adobe Photoshop Elements 12. That's an old version. This is the one I use. I'm an old guy. Okay? In this screen, you have something that has been designed for my father. 77. Okay? Very, very simple interface. And what do you do with this very, very simple interface? Not much. Actually, what you do is, if you have that wonderful baby there, and you just take the picture with a flash, it has red eyes, so it's looking like a vampire baby. Okay? And you don't want to have a vampire baby. Okay? It's not Rosemary's Baby. You just want to have your own baby with these beautiful, deep blue eyes or whatever. So you correct that kind of stuff. That's very easy. Okay? And this is one of the options that you can do. You have a little bit too much light or not enough. It's too dark, it's too... You just correct a little bit with a slider and the picture looks brilliant. Don't think about, removing a background or changing the background or editing anything. It's just a simple option. This is what you're going to post on Facebook if you are a grandfather. Okay? Or if it's just your first brand new baby. Okay? So this is a quick change. That's very easy. Let's come to the next one. Okay? Yeah, this is enhancing. This one is... Okay, I grew up a bit now, and I want to do something else. This is the wizard kind of approach. And the wizard kind of approach is, you want to do that kind of picture when you have that little girl swinging a dolly, and you want to have the leg on a transparent background so that you can insert it on your web page or something. You see, it's becoming a little bit more difficult, or you need to have this vignetting effect or whatever. Okay? This is becoming a little bit more difficult, a little bit more elaborated, and what they do is that they drive you step by step to the result. That's the wizard approach. Here we go. And actually, each and every little box that you tick there is driving you step by step. So you have different filters, different actions that are applied, one after the other, and then you come to the result you want. Okay? And this one is the expert mode. I know everything about Adobe Photoshop Element, or at least all I need to know, and all I want to use. And then I have the full palette of options, and I can do whatever I like. It's no problem. You see? So, and you can choose this very easily from that menu above. That's a little bit like in gaming, you know. You enter the game and, oh, I'm a rookie. No, I'm the agent of hell. I'm your nightmare incarnated, and I want to kill them all. And you have different levels of difficulties, you see. That's exactly what it is. Let's talk about some of our flows. And we have several kind of blindnesses. And one of them is selective blindness. A wonderful picture, 50 Shades, no, 50, well, I'm turning 50, that's why, well, I turned 50 actually, so that's why I'm putting this everywhere. Oh, let's do a trick together. Now you will see how smart I am. So, ladies and gentlemen, how many are we? Probably 150 something, maybe. Well, let's see. Look at the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the screen and choose one card. Just for you. Don't tell anyone, choose one card. Concentrate on this card and make sure that you remember it. You got it? Now I'm going to remove it. I don't know how it works because this is a Russian interface, but it doesn't matter. Ta-da! Is your card there?
No.
Wow! Who's got the trick? Okay, we have 1/3 of the audience. Who wants to know the trick if they don't know it already? It's pretty easy. These are not the same cards. You see? It's looking the same. It's all looking the same. And whatever card you choose, I have the pair in there. Something that is looking alike. And you've been tricked. Those who knew the trick, probably not, but the rest has been tricked. And this works exactly the same. I've seen, there are psychology experiments, you can watch this over the web, it's kind of amazing. They just give you a couple of pictures with ladies, and they say, well, which one do you think is smarter? Or men. Let's not be sexist, whatever. Men or ladies. Now, which one do you think is smarter? But my example works best with ladies because one of the guys said, well, because she has earrings, and I love these earrings. So it attracted my attention, so this is the smartest one. Okay, good. And then 10 minutes later, they come to the guy and they say, this is the girl you chose, and this is a totally different one. And the guy says, yes, because have you seen that trick? Have you seen that trick? That's kind of funny. You have people in a room, 6 or 7 people sitting in a room, okay? And they're given a couple of words, and then they have to remind a couple of words or something. And at a certain moment in time, they're all accomplished but one. This is the deep psychology experiment. And at a certain moment in time, you have 6 people on 7 that say this is the word. And this is wrong. But because 6 out of 7 said the wrong answer, the 7th one who said the right answer first changed his mind. Ain't it fabulous? So this is how we are manipulated. Another example. Do you know this example? That's kind of funny. This is Indian kind of parable. It's funny. You have these people and they're all blind. and they all see a little part of the elephant. They just touch a part of the elephant. And for each and every people, this is not an elephant, but this is something different. The one who touches there sees a snake. This is long and soft, and this is probably a snake. For this one, this is a staff, because it's sharp and it's, kind of strong stuff. This one sees a wall, because he's got the whole elephant, and so on and so forth. So each and every one of them is touching a different part of the elephant and is figuring out what it's all about. We are all the same. We have our perception, we have our mental model at a certain moment in time, and this mental model is just there to build our reality. And I say build because we don't see anything, we reconstruct the world. I have other examples, maybe not for today, but I have other examples that show you that we don't see the world, we build it. And we rebuild it all the time. This is probably, you've heard about this little skirt over the web, right? You have this lady and she has a striped kind of dress. And half of the people see that blue and black, and the other one see that golden and white. And this is just how our brain is processing. There's nothing wrong with any category. Yeah. So, we are less good than what we think we are. And because we are less good, we need to be conscious of that. And we also need to prevent others to fall into the same trap. We have to help them. I use that example. You can drive your car back home without even noticing that you did it. We can do these sort of things. So our brain is able to activate a couple of actions without us really being aware. And we drive safe, mostly. If there is something really special happening, it might be that we just wake up. But in most cases, in normal traffic conditions, all fine. We think we do catch details, and especially testers, because this is part of the job. And actually we are much less good at this than we think we are. Maybe we are better than other people. I would probably buy that one. But we don't catch all the details. There are ways to train. There are ways to improve. There are ways to enhance. Air controllers, for instance, can work under stress in a totally different way and can process information in a totally different way. And if you look at their brain maps, I mean, if you do, how to say that, EEG test and so on and so forth, on these people, you see that their connectivities are a bit different and their way of thinking are a bit different, whatever. But it's detrimental to other kind of capabilities as well. And overall, we completely lack the comprehensive view. We just see a part of the picture, and not the whole picture. This is like the elephant. And why am I telling you this? Because of regression testing, ladies and gentlemen. This is our everyday life. Oh, I just changed a tiny bit here. Nothing happened, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I bet you're right. Okay. Oh, by the way, we are also attracted by some details. I will show you a couple of examples. And to complete my picture here, we have two kinds of vision, static and dynamic vision. Okay? Static vision is when we look at something. You go to a museum of art and you look at a painting. This is static vision. Dynamic vision is when you drive and you look at the traffic. Now, our dynamic vision is extremely focused on movement. And you know why? Because before being the super predators that we are today, we were prey. when it was the booga booga time in the Stone Age, we were dinner. That's our name at the time, dinner. So we have to watch, and we have to have this peripheral vision to make sure that nobody is approaching. I want this one. If I don't get this one, I'll make the pose earlier. They will fix the technique.
You can, yes. All right, thank you very much. You're welcome. Now, the thing about bar magic as opposed to regular magic is the fact that I don't use big props. I can't afford them.
You see the guy, yo man,
And
all the time.
that's all I have to dazzle the world. Now, the thing about magic that happens close to your face is that it has to be performed.
Yeah. It's not a flow, it's explaining. Misdirection. He is playing with hands all the time and he's attracting attention. Remember peripheral vision, so you see you're attracted.
Okay, pronounce that word correctly, but... Excuse me. Just popped up hard. But, honestly, I just do not like card tricks because that's amazing. But...
Yes?
But I have a beautiful 6-year-old son, and I want to do something to you.
Palming is making sure that you can, squeeze something so that it's so small that you don't see it. Yeah, this is palming. Have you seen that? Have you had the impression that the ball didn't move?
Smell the wow that my little boy likes. Let's see the other side. Thank you. Oh, perfect. I'm gonna take it. This ball, put it right about here. I want you to hold that ball real tight for me. Thank you. With that ball there and that ball there, we're gonna go abracadabra. Open up your hand. Shut up!
€1.99 in Amazon. And you have a red light, so you can put red light on. Wonderful. Yeah, remember, you just get the pen in the nose. That's pretty easy. This one I can do. If I want.
Let me mentally assault you two in your hands.
After the video.
Because I am ghetto. Oh. Cool. Thank you. That's my name, though. That is the name. Thank you.
Okay, before we come back to software, I think that we need a pause here. Enjoy the drink.